Hello and welcome everyone to episode 11 of our TEW 2020 PWG series. It is time for the 2021 iteration of the Battle of Los Angeles tournament. Of course, it is 3 nights in the final week of August we are going for because of scheduling reasons. Of course, our World Heavyweight Champion going into the tournament is Bandido, who has held the gold for 572 days with 4 successful defences, of course due to the coronavirus pandemic. And our World Tag Champs are of course the Most Machine Guns with 343 days in their reign, 5 successful defences. Of course, last year's winner was Jonathan Gresham, and Bandido won it the year before him in 2019. Sorry for the tiny little split second break there in speech. I almost choked. So yeah, at least you didn't have to hear me almost die and choke. But anyways, last time out we brought you a team where the card saw Chris Dickinson beat Calvin Tankman in Tankman's debut. Myron Reed debuted for us. He defeated Laredo Kid and Mick Moretti. ACH beat Lee Moriarty in a shitter of a match. Chris Hero knocked out Caveman Ugg. The Velocities pinned the team of Freddie High and Tony Deppen. Brody King beat Black Taurus. And John Gresham beat Mike Bailey. Now you might be thinking, Mike Bailey, that was an unfortunate return for him. What's more unfortunate than that, I hear you ask? He shattered his knee. Days after his return, my guy shattered his knee. So Mike Bailey, we will see you in a year and 2 weeks, just in time for next year's Battle of Los Angeles. But you might be wondering, so who is this year's competitors? Well, ladies and gentlemen, why don't we look at the cards for Night Uno and Night Dos of the Battle of Los Angeles tournaments. Night 1 sees Daniel McCarby battle Jonathan Gresham in a technical wrestling exhibition. Black Taurus battles Chris Dickinson. Laredo Kid fights Myron Reed. Brody King battles the returning Californian Willie Mack. Chris Hero faces Tony Deppen. Mil Muertes makes his PWG debut, flanked by the lovely Katrina against Minoru Suzuki, who recently left New Japan Pro Wrestling. Matt Silva comes in. He teams with Mick Moretti against the Velocities in your Night 1 main event. Night 2's action sees ACH battle Paris de Silva. Alex Shelley is up against the much larger Calvin Tankman. Mexa Blood collide as Bandido battles Flamita. Black Taurus teams with Chris Dickinson against Mil Muertes and Minoru Suzuki in a Hoss battle. Chris Sabin faces Fred Yehai. Dragon Lee battles Jude London, and Matt Silva fights Mick Moretti. Ladies and gentlemen, let's get right into Bola. We kick off the show with a 77! Oh! In a bout that had superb wrestling and a decent reaction from the crowd, Jonathan Gresham defeated Daniel McCarby in 20 minutes and 18 seconds via referee stoppage when McCarby could not continue. Gresham just stomped away on the head relentlessly, desperate to win this tournament, out to prove a point. Gresham gets an 87, trying to prove that not only is he the best technical wrestler in the world, but he's the best wrestler on the planet. Full stop. Maccabee gave it his all, but he could not get the job done. These two have competed before in... oh, what company was it? Was it 3-2-1 Battle in Seattle? I believe it was. Great matchup there. Maccabi with the 64, Gresham with the best in-ring performance of the entire series so far. John Gresham gets an 87. Take a bow, you little man. Matchup number 2 gets a 54. As in a decent match, the Dirty Daddy Chris Dickinson pins Black Taurus in 12 minutes and 43 seconds. He gets the victory with a Liger Bomb, getting a 54 to Black Taurus' 49. Chris Dickinson advances to the quarterfinals on Night 3. Next up we have a 64, where in a bout that had great wrestling, Myron Reed gets another victory over Laredo Kid. This time he pins him directly. It took him 12 minutes and 19 seconds to do so, defeating a man who recently lost the AAA World Cruiserweight Championship to Leo Rush, and that man is Laredo Kid, of course. He lost due to the Skywalker maneuver. Laredo Kid with a 57, Myron Reed with a very impressive 60 rating. The match itself gets a 64. Up next, it's a California battle, which gets a 67, unfortunately, due to a couple little negative effects. However, the match had superb wrestling and saw Brody King, the man who has arguably more momentum in PWG than anyone else going into this tournament. He defeats Willie Mack in 15:27 with a Gonzo bomb. He gets a 70. Willie Mack gets a 67 in his return to PWG. They have great chemistry which show in their performances. Expect to see this contest again in the future because I think Willie Mack has earned the right to stick around here at the Globe Theatre in front of 772 people, by the way, our biggest gate yet. 67 again up next. Tony Deppen has it all to prove he's been in a run of poor form in singles contests, but he submits to the knockout artist, the wrestling genius Chris Hero. It took 20 minutes and 4 seconds for Hero to get the win. Deppen was locked in the hangman's clutch for something like 25 seconds, refusing to submit. In the end, that man passes out due to the severe pain he was in at the hands of Chris Hero, who brutally advances to the quarterfinals. At 55 up next, where Muertes battles Minoru Suzuki in an excellent brawl, which sees Suzuki get the win in 13 minutes and 8 seconds with a Gotch-style piledriver. Unfortunately, Muertes doesn't have the best stamina at this stage of his career, so I thought 13 minutes is the longest I can give it. I'll make the wild brawl, which gets capped at 15 minutes anyways before they start getting penalised, which is a shame that you do a match like this between two people who are rated as stars in the promotion and it comes out as too short for an important match. Like, come on, that needs to be fixed. If it's a wild brawl, if it was 20 minutes, then it wouldn't get that penalty, but be penalised for going too long because it's a wild brawl. There's no victory there, there's no pleasing the game. Muertes and Katrina are a good pairing, they play off each other well, and Minoru Suzuki and Muertes have great chemistry, which showed in their performances. So two random chemistry bonuses for Muertes there, which I didn't expect because neither of those were actually programmed into this mod. Of course, we are using Real World Chronicles, and I do work on that mod along with Questlove. It is our mod, and I recently, only about 4 hours ago maybe, when I booked this match, I thought, have they actually got good chemistry, Muertes and Katrina? Because I recently watched, it was the Season 3 Aztec Warfare bout, and I thought it was so enjoyable. I absolutely loved it. And I thought, do they actually have good chemistry in the mod? And Muertes and Katrina had no chemistry noted, so I did add that in the mod for future releases of Real World Chronicles, but this August 2020 iteration of the database does not have that, so we did get a bit lucky there. And next up, in your non-tournament main event of the evening, in a bout that had great wrestling and a decent reaction from the crowd, the Velocities defeat formerly known as Buddy Murphy, Matt Silver, and Mick Moretti in 14:29. Jude London pinning Mick Moretti with the Shooting Star Press DDT, Moretti with a 48, Jude with a 57, Paris with a 60, Matt Silver underachieving with a 67 given the fact that he has more popularity than anyone else in this company. The match gets the crowd buzzing, the Velocities get a tag team specialist bonus. The match was too short for an important match, but 3/4 of this match are viewed as unimportant to the fans, so is it really too short? Not really. But there we have it. That, ladies and gentlemen, is night 1 of the Battle of Los Angeles. You might have noticed Bandito and Dragon Lee weren't on the show. They do miss night 1, but they are here for nights 2 and 3, as is everyone else on the roster, which is all. We'll compliment Daniel McCarvey. Actually, no, we'll compliment Willie Mack and we'll compliment Brody King because I don't think they've really been complimented in this save just yet. But there we have it. What do you think so far of what's happened in Bola? Of course, we also have night 2 to bring you in this episode, and then the next episode in probably about a week's time we'll have night 3 where we will crown the winner. I don't want to just do 3 shows in one episode because at that point I'm reading off something like 28 match results in one video, and that feels a little bit much, you know. I think that that's getting a little bit long and it feels like a little bit too much of that kind of thing. There you can see Pat and Coronor in our loading screen. Any news? No. The feedback was that the show was awesome for us, so that's lovely to see. But enough of this, I will see you all in just a moment for night 2 of the Battle of Los Angeles. And so, ladies and gentlemen, here we are with night 2 of the Battle of Los Angeles. We kick things off with ACH victorious against Paris de Silva in 12 minutes 19 seconds. He pins him with the ready or not Here I Come. Couldn't tell you what that is, so let's just pretend that it's that Midnight Fly 450 splash. ACH gets a 54 to Paris' 49. A very underwhelming start to the show, but both of them did seem off their game, so I will accept those penalties and low ratings because, you know, sometimes people are just going to be off their game. It's to be expected. Next up, we have a 49, where in a decent match in an all-Australian matchup, Matt Silva defeats Mick Moretti to advance through to the quarterfinals of the tournament. He gets the win in just under 12 minutes with a Silver Star press. I'm assuming that's a shooting star, which, if so, I genuinely had no idea he could do. So I might have to do some research later on and find out if Matt Silva can actually hit a shooting star press. Matt Silva with a 59. Mick Moretti with a 41 there, as this match gets the crowd buzzing. Next up, we have a 58 when about that had great wrestling and a decent reaction from the crowd. Alex Shelley, one half of your PWG World Tag Team Champions, Alex Shelley that is, defeats Calvin Tankman in 15 minutes and 20 seconds by pinfall with a very good inside cradle. The match was the smaller Alex Shelley evading the power moves of the indestructible Calvin Tankman, and in the end he catches him with a beautiful inside cradle, a piece of art, and Shelley gets the 1-2-3 to advance to the quarterfinals on night 3. Alex Shelley with a 67 to the 49 of Calvin Tankman there. Again, the match was a little too short for an important match in the eyes of our audience, but Tankman's an unimportant wrestler in their eyes. That doesn't really make sense. And I think what I'm going to do tomorrow, if I can remember, is actually make a post about that on the Grey Dog Software technical support forums, or whatever forum it's meant to be, to try and get that fixed, because 2 major stars, fair enough, I get it, unless it's in a wild brawl, but major star versus unimportant, come on, that ain't an important match in the eyes of our audience. Like, if John Moxley fights Ryan Nemeth on Dynamite like he did recently, are you telling me that match needs to go 20 minutes? Bullshit. Bullshit. 10 seconds at most, because Ryan Nemeth sucks. But anyways, enough about him. We have a 64 next, as in the longest match of the tournament so far tonight. In a bout that had great wrestling and a decent reaction from the crowd, Fred Yehai submits Chris Sabin in 22:45 with the Koji clutch, getting a 64 to Sabin's 50. I expected a bit better there, if I'm honest. I really did. I thought we'd get a bit more out of those two, but we just kind of didn't. An average performance from Sabin, a slightly below average performance from Fred Yehai, but we move. Yehai will get some popularity for this. He is defined as a star, whereas Sabin is defined as a major star. If I can remember, I will show the roster at the end of the next episode after the final, just so that way we can see who is where on the perception charts, because I realise I've probably not shown that. So Fred Yehai is someone who's went from unimportant to a star in this save, and there's a solid chance you guys had zero idea of that happening, so I do apologise for that. Next up, we have a 71, where in a bout that had superb wrestling, Dragon Lee advances to the quarterfinals with the former IWGP Junior Heavyweight Champion, defeating Jude London in 11:43 by pinfall with the Operation Dragon. Dragon Lee got 87 to Jude the Dude London's 57. Huge performance from Dragon Lee, that equaling that of Jonathan Gresham in what was, and still is, the best in-ring performance of the entire series to date. Big up Dragon Lee. Next up, we have a 79, where in your final round 1 match of the tournament, in a bout that had superb wrestling and good heat, Bandido, your World Heavyweight Champion, defeats his tag team partner Flamita in 22 minutes and 19 seconds. He gets the win with the Revolution Fly. Flamita off his game with a 61, Bandido with an 80. That might be the highest match rating we've ever had, so I'll check that again at the end of the next episode as well. But if Flamita wasn't off his game, that would have definitively been our best match ever. And your main event, Black Taurus teams with Chris Dickinson against Muertes and Minoru Suzuki. And in a 62, in a bout that had good wrestling and a decent reaction from the crowd, the man of 1,000 deaths, Muertes, and Minoru Suzuki, of course, as well, defeat Black Taurus and Chris Dickinson in 2023. When Muertes submitted Black Taurus with a sharpshooter, I expected that flatliner victory, but he didn't get it with that. fair play. Muertes and Katrina are a good pairing, they play off each other well. Minoru Suzuki was really off his game, just average performances from the four of them there. But I will say, if there's any Black Taurus fans here who are a bit underwhelmed with his booking over the course of this weekend, in my defence, he has just signed an exclusive written contract with AAA down in Mexico. So these two Bola episodes are the last time we will see Black Taurus in the Globe Theatre anytime soon in this series, which is a little bit of a shame because he is, of course, a competitor, but maybe in another world we would have been able to have him back here for a longer period of time. Is there anyone else that warrants praise in this? I don't think there really is. I'm going to tell Matt Silver that he could do better because I believe he could. And he's going into night 3 in the next episode in the quarterfinals. He's got 1, 2 or 3 bouts there. Going to win, which he could. He's the biggest name in the tournament, popularity wise that is. I wouldn't say he's a bigger name than Minoru Suzuki in wrestling, but he's got more popularity than anyone else on our roster. If he's going to win this potentially, then he's got to get better performances than that, because it's going to take more than a 60 to win Bola, especially when Dragon Lee and John Gresham are pulling 87s, and those are two men who will be joining that man in the quarter-finals of this competition. And now I understand that you might be thinking, NLG, what are the quarter-finals? Don't worry, I'll show you guys in just a second. As we see, we have male here. Kyle Fletcher has a bruised tailbone. Kyle Fletcher and Mark Davis, of course, Aussie Open, recently returning to the wrestling world, Mark Davis, which is always great to see. He had a great match defeating Ricky South and Matty Wahlberg at PWA Black Label's Back in Black Label pay-per-view event on Fight TV recently, about 2 weeks ago now, which will probably be about 4 weeks by the time this episode airs. But there are 2 people on my shortlist to bring in. That's how the shortlist is looking at the moment for anyone who is intrigued. Of course, the likes of Joan Oliver and Dominic Guarini have been removed from that due to severe long-term injuries. But, ladies and gentlemen, here we go. The card for night 3. Just the quarterfinals, that's all I'm showing now. ACH will battle Jonathan Gresham. Gresham, a man who has been brutal in his victories against Daniel McCarby and Speedball Mike Bailey. Can Jonathan Gresham advance to semi-finals? Can ACH advance to the semi-finals? ACH is in a hot run of form. I believe he's 8-1 in singles matches in this company since returning. Alex Shelley battles Fred Yehi. Is that right? Yeah, it is. Alex Shelley battles Fred Yehi. Shelley beat Calvin Tankman to advance. Fred Yehi defeated Alex Shelley's tag team partner, Chris Sabin. Can Fred Yehi eliminate both of the Motor City Machine Guns from this? Because if you look here, ladies and gentlemen, you will see that in PWG, let's just have a look here, the Motor City Machine Guns defeated Fred Yehi and Tony Deppen, and so did the Velocities. If Yehi eliminates both of the guns, you could argue that Yehi will have earned another shot at the tag team gold for himself and Tony Deppen. The World Heavyweight Champion Bandito will be in action, looking to advance further in the tournament against Matt Silver. Brody King battles Dragon Lee, 2 of the tournament favourites. 2 of our newer superstars, Chris Dickinson and Myron Reed, collide. And in a huge matchup that I do believe happened in Revolution Pro Wrestling down in the UK in York Hall, sees Chris Hero against Minoru Suzuki. Of course, we will also have a huge tag team matchup. We will have an even bigger 10-man tag team matchup, and as well as that, the semi-finals and the final will take place in the next episode very soon. I will leave this one at that because we are just shy of 19 minutes, and I don't want to overstay welcome and leave you with too much content to watch right now, especially if anyone is binge watching this in the future. I don't want to ramble too much, so I will let you all go, ladies and gentlemen. Enjoy your days, and I hope to see you all very shortly for the next episode. Who do you think will win Bola? Do comment down below. I'm very intrigued to see if anyone predicts it correctly.